Game 5, 2-1, Chicago Blackhawks, 20 seconds left.
That's so nice. They're about to dump it out and win the game. This is just bringing back bad money. This is just bringing back bad money. Yeah! Fuck! No!
Finessing the plug, I run with a second, I make a touchdown. Under money, Hall of Famer finessing no Jim Brown. I know my mama, she proud of me. Young rich nigga, we the new trend now. Came a long way from kicking it down. Now people they pay me in pen. 50, 40, there you go. 30, down sideline. There you go. Turn down, go. Run it with that set. Him and Smith. Deuce, pocket rocket. Him and Smith. I just touched down on a pussy nigga. I just touched down on a pussy nigga. Touchdown. Him and Smith. Him and Smith. Go. Him and Smith. I just touched down on a pussy nigga. Touchdown. I just touched.
Good evening, America. We're here today at America's Biggest Loser to find out who could be the biggest loser. I myself is a renowned loser. Yes, I am him in the flesh, Muhammad Ali. Fought my best fights, had my best struggles, and still couldn't pull up the victory. Although I did redeem myself in the rumble in the jungle, I'll never forget that I lost that fight. I'm here with another world-renowned loser, Johnny Manziel. A loser in his own right, and still losing. Still hasn't managed to pick himself out of the rut. And he just sits, eats snacks, and does smack. How you doing, Johnny?
Okay.
Number one draft.
I'm losing, baby. You know how it is.
Draft Day's Johnny Manziel, here in the flesh, co-host. Here on The Biggest Loser, we'll be looking at some of the biggest losses we've seen in history. Jim Kelly, renowned American football quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, retired number 12 jersey, yet no Super Bowl rings. And the Boston Bruins, countless times making it to the Stanley Cup playoffs, but always coming up short, sometimes winning, but more renowned for losing. In a different case, ladies and gentlemen, we have a gymnast. Yes, Miss Maroney, regarded for her art and revered for always expected to coming up on top, but unfortunately this time came short. We'll talk to them. We'll see why we're obsessed with winning, and we'll see why these winners are here today on America's Biggest Loser.
She looks like him. 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 Movie star.
What the deal?
Like a chocolate candy.
Tell me how you feel. How you
She
feel?
looks like a movie star.
What the deal? What the
Like a
deal?
chocolate candy.
Tell me how you
If you're looking for the big adventure and gold is all that's on your mind, if all you want someone to take your picture, then I won't waste your time.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. My name's Jim Kelly, Hall of Fame quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills drafted me, but because of my disdain for cold weather, I refused to sign with them and instead went to the Houston Gamblers of the upstart United States Football League. That league folded in a few years' time, and I went to play for the Bills in the cold, harsh, painful winters of Buffalo. As it turns out, my time with the Bills would be extremely painful, but not due to the cold. That pain was the agony of defeat. In 1990, my Bills were the talk of the town. We had made the playoffs each of the past 2 years, and we earned the #1 seed in the AFC after scoring more points than anyone else in the league. Hell, my arms grew tired for going like this too much. In the AFC Championship, we beat the Raiders 51-3, and we looked primed to win the Super Bowl over when we faced the New York Giants. And the game was quite the nail-biter. We went down 1 point with only 2 minutes left, and I had to drive my team down the field. We got within the 30-yard line, and my buddy Scott Norwood had a chance to seal the win with a 47-yard kick. Have you ever been stabbed in the heart while walking on top of hot coals while hearing nails on a chalkboard? Well, that's what it felt like to see Scotty's kick go wide right. In my post-game interview, I uttered the phrase, "There's always next year." I never knew how accurate that statement would be. The next year, we once again were the #1 seed in the AFC, and we scored even more points than we had the year before. We got back to the Super Bowl, and we played the Washington, after a scoreless first, Washington put up 17 in the second, essentially ending the game before the halftime show even started. For the second team in a row, my team had made it to the big game, only to have it torn from our hands, kind of like Von Miller tore the ball from Cam Newton's hands in this last Super Bowl. Did we give up after this? Hell no. Did the people of Buffalo give up after going through months and months of -degree weather? Well, I would, but they sure don't. The next year, we went 11-5, good for a wild card spot. No one expected much of us that year, but we made it all the way through the playoffs, and we faced the Dallas Cowboys in the Super Bowl. We put up a touchdown in the first drive to go up 7-0, but alas, that was about the only moment of celebration we would have. The score was 28-10 at halftime, but at least I got to see the King of Pop do his thing. But, and I gotta say, that was kind of bad. Well, not like bad, but bad in the Michael Jackson sense. At that point, we had become a national icon of failure. But hell, we went back at it in '93. We had a great year, and we locked up the #1 seed in the AFC for the 3rd time in 4 years. Once again, we would have to face the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, and we prayed that we would be able to make up for the embarrassing loss the year before. Everything was looking great. We had an 11-6 lead, and everything was clicking on both sides of the ball. We got the ball back to start the 3rd quarter, but before even a minute passed, our running back Thurman Thomas fumbled, and Dallas ran it back all the way for a touchdown. The Cowboys ended up scoring 24 unanswered points in the second half, and once again, I was going home a loser. But am I a loser? Really? I'm a Hall of Fame quarterback. My number 12 is the only number retired by the Buffalo Bills, and no quarterback or team has ever gone to 4 Super Bowls in a row. But that line of thinking destroys the entire nature of sports that we all love. Everybody, sure, in the grand scheme of the NFL, everyone's a winner. But that's not what sports is about. Sorry to use cliches, but people watch because of the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. If losing didn't hurt, then winning wouldn't be so great. So I stand before you, America, Jim Kelly, the most successful, biggest loser of all time.
Tell me why must a man be of service to his Lord and the God seldom high? From the grave sprang the name of our fathers, but there's no glint in a dead man's eye. Tell me why our fields...
I'm Michaela Maroney, and I placed 2nd in the 2012 Olympics after I completely ate it on my vault routine. I was considered the best vaulter in the world and was a shoo-in for the Olympic gold medal. I won the World Championships a year earlier by a half a point, as well as qualified for the Olympics by that margin, which is a lot if I may say so myself. The day of the competition, I was extremely nervous. Lang Chow, my teammate Gabby Douglas' coach, once said about my gymnastics talent, quote, "She's so good that she's probably the only one who doesn't even have to perform to win gold." That definitely was not the case today. So let me take you there. The competition begins, and I land my first vault for a score of 15.866. I was feeling pretty confident, but knew I could do better. Well, thought I could do better. We all know how that turned out. They called my name for my second vault of the competition, which was much easier than the first one, which I stuck, might I add. I took a deep breath in and started running towards the vault. I sprung my body onto the vault and immediately knew something was wrong. My hands didn't land soundly on the table, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to propel myself high enough to complete my twist and flip. As I was coming down to land the jump, my feet slipped from under me and I landed straight on my butt. I received a score of 14.3. I just wanted to prove everybody that I could hit 2 vaults and do my best for USA. That's what I'm disappointed about. Just about how I trained so hard, and just on this day, it didn't go. The whole night after, I couldn't really sleep because I was just replaying the vault over and over in my head. I hadn't fallen on my butt on that vault in over 4 months, so I was completely shocked. It was sad, but I mean, that stuff happens all the time. And that right there is just motivation to come back to the next Olympics. Yes, it's such an honor to have a silver medal. The only disappointing thing is that I knew I could do better, and it's not the silver medal that I wasn't happy about. So this is why I should be considered the biggest loser. Against all odds, I managed to F up. Literally, everyone in the world thought I was going to win. I already had endorsements lined up for my post-2012 Olympic career. People didn't even consider the vault a competition because I always smoked every single one of the other gymnasts. But nope, not today. I landed right on my butt. The only day it actually mattered. Now I'm known more for my not impressed face, aka my pissed off face on the medal podium, than I am for my gymnastic ability and legacy, which I sacrificed my entire childhood and adolescence to work for. I could have gone to the 2016 Olympics and redeemed the ultimate sports failure, but instead I'm going to quit gymnastics and take up singing and acting, aka I'm the biggest loser.
Yeah, what some boy feel like. Them know so when them see me say a 5-star tell. Them career no start well. Gunshots send them to hell. 45 hostile.
What them do, them road bad man.
I'm the Boston Bruins, and I'm a classic disappointment. After a tumultuous year for Boston with the Boston Marathon bombing, my die-hard fans from all over the Northeast could have really used a win. After a super exciting Eastern Conference championship, including a miracle first-round win over the Maple Leafs, I started heartbreak off early with a loss in the third overtime of Game 1 after giving up a 3-1 lead. My players looked like this. A fan of mine, Megan McBurney, commented, "It all fell apart. All we had to do was just survive," and it was actually pretty painful. However, I soothed the souls of my fans by winning the next 2 games, one in overtime and one in a shootout. Amazing effort by my players, I must say. Game 4, overtime again. Bruins loss again. Broken hearts abounded in Boston, even though Bergeron scored 2 goals and was at this point playing with a punctured lung. Despite the Herculean effort expended by me, my fans were still enraged enough to do this. And then there was Game 6. After dropping Game 5, the Bruins had doubled the shot count of the Blackhawks in the first period, resulting in a 1-goal lead. However, Jonathan Toews of the Hawks tied it up in the second, and the 2 teams entered the third period with a tie. Milan Lucic scored with 8 minutes left to put the Bruins into the lead, a score that seemed to promise Game 7. With 76 seconds left in the game, Brian Bickle tied it up. So with the score now even at 2-2, it appeared that the finals would go into overtime for the 4th time this series. Shorter than the time it takes Jamal to beat mascots at halftime, the Hawks scored again. With 59 seconds left in the game, Dave Bolin scored what would be the latest Stanley Cup game winner ever scored in NHL history. Young star Tyler Sagan. Should I keep going? Young star Tyler Sagan said, "I've never cried for as long as I've known until tonight." That summer, he got traded. And there we go. Even after a miracle of a first-round win and our players playing outstandingly with, can I just start that bit over? Young star Tyler Sagan said, "I've never cried for as long as I've known until tonight." And that summer, he got traded. And there we go. Even after a miracle of a first-round win and outstanding performances by incredibly injured players, our loss had notorious party bro Tyler Sagan bawling. Even nice guy defenseman Andrew Ferrand said, "This is the worst loss I could have ever imagined." Boom. I think I have what it takes to be called the biggest loser.
Oh, an absolute shock there. What a bunch of losers, am I right, Donnie?
That's right.
What a bunch of losers. Maybe even greater than us, but the question is, why do they feel like losers? I mean, sounds like some of them win a little bit, so to understand why this enigma of losing comes about and why no one values the losers in situations where maybe they could be considered winners with all the effort and hard work they put into their craft. Why then are we obsessed with winning? Why are these teams obsessed with winning? We caught up with none other than the Boston Bruins and Jim Kelly to get a bit of insight onto why this phenomenon of losing plagues them. Right back at ya. Good evening, America. I'm here again with another one of your greatest losers. Yes, today in the flesh we have Jim Kelly of the Buffalo Bills, a classic loser case. We're just going to unpack a little bit about the complex of loser and how it feels and why Jim Kelly deserves to be your biggest loser. Mr. Kelly, player of the Buffalo Bills, retired number 12. What an honor.
Oh, it's quite
what
the
an
honor.
honor.
Quite the honor.
But with that honor, no rings.
You know, my hands, they're too empty, I'll tell you that.
I feel. Must be hard, you know, lifting, waving, or easy in your case, no weight. Mr. Kelly. So, going up to the Super Bowls, there are a lot of games that have to be played.
Yep.
A lot of games that have to be won, I imagine.
A lot of games we did win.
Winning. Nice thing to hear come out of your mouth. So, how does that feel then? Winning all those games, getting all that success, working so hard, and still being considered a loser?
Well, you know, let me tell you, there's no real important win. There's no real important win except for the Super Bowl. And every year, sure, we won a lot of games. We beat our AFC rivals, but we could never win the big one. And because of that, I'm a loser.
I guess that's all that matters, right? That one big game at the end. So in that sense, you must be the biggest loser because despite all the winning you win, you still lose.
At the end of the day. But I'm a Hall of Famer. I'm one of the winningest regular season quarterbacks of all time. But at the end of the day,
but personal winning is not collective winning. It's not
true.
Winning for the game.
I could never pick up my teammates, and that'll stick in my mind for the rest of my life.
Well, don't worry about it, Mr. Kelly. You have another chance here to win today, because with all you say, you just might be the biggest loser. So I'm here with the Boston Bruins, revered as one of the greatest losers of our society. Just to get a little meet the loser, a little information about why the Boston Bruins suck so much. Boston Bruins, have you ever won anything?
So actually, yes, 2 years ago, 2011, we won the Stanley Cup. It was a huge win for us, yeah.
Sounds like a new change for you. How did that feel?
Winning? Oh, it was fantastic. We actually ran up an over $100,000 bar tab that night that we won. It was quite the experience.
Lots of drinking.
Oh yeah.
Pounding the brews. You Bruins.
Oh yeah.
Boston Bruins. Compare that feeling to losing.
Devastating. I would say that it was heartbreaking to lose in front of our fans. To lose at home, that was pretty tough, especially after such an incredibly hard-fought Game 6, an incredibly hard-fought series, really, but Game 6, especially losing in 17 seconds, I mean, it's unexplainable.
So the question is now, that win compared to the losses, how are you still a loser? Why do we still think the Boston Bruins are losers?
I think that the Boston Bruins are considered losers, mostly just because there was so much riding on this win. New Englanders, especially after the Boston bombing, could have really, really used this win, and coming so far, and then just,
I believe you, yeah. Just to lose it all at that moment.
Yeah.
To lose it all.
Yeah.
Hoo-hoo. So insightful, don't you think?
Yeah.
Reminds me of my days in the youth. In Jamal's class, learning, watching videos. Spurring the eyes and the mind, they used to call it. You remember that in college, Donnie? Ever have a professor that inspired you in college, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Make you who you are today?
We're doing class Jabu.
Athletes, that's another problem. Pro college athletes. But hey, as Jamal always says, if you can't beat them, double fist them, right? We caught up with a bunch of other athletes, get a wider perspective, see why they value winning and losing, and how that's built up sports and created it for them throughout their lives.
My name is Cody Miller. I'm 20 years old. Play hockey here at Honan Ice Rink. I don't think winning's the most important thing in a game. I think the most important thing about a game is teamwork. Even if you don't win at the end, as long as you know you have your teammates there at the end to help you. There's not one sport out there that you can do it all by yourself except wrestling, unless you're in a team duel. So it's all about teamwork. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. Shit happens. But
so with that, do you think that teams that reach the final in sports should get equally compensated? Like they should both get gold medals and the same amount of money because they won the same amount of games to get there?
No, because that's what makes sports a sport. It's what makes it competitive. That's what gives people the drive to be better. If you hear Patrick Kane, he's one of the craziest goal scorers I've ever seen, and it's because he wants that first place. Nobody's gonna put their heart into it if everybody gets first place. I don't think it should be a big deal as far as who wins first place. It's always fun if your team does, but the biggest thing for me with sports is all about team. It's all about having a good team and good chemistry. So.
I'm Steph Kelly. I'm on the women's lacrosse team at Colorado College. I've been playing lacrosse for 7 or 8 years, and I play it here because I couldn't imagine a college experience without playing lacrosse.
So, you've been playing lacrosse for 8 years, and through that you've probably won and lost a lot. Why do you think winning is so important, and why do people aim to win in lacrosse?
I think winning is important because it kind of gives a tangible thing to chase after when you're training for your sport. And I think that when you can say that you've won a game or you've lost a game, listening to people say that they've won gives more credit to their team than saying it was close but we lost by 1.
So do you think it's fair that despite all the hard work you do, it does come down to winning and losing, and that is the quantity?
I think fair is an interesting word to use there. I think you have to have a winner and a loser. You can't just have, play for no score, because you need something to chase after, and you want to have that win under your belt. And so I think that if it was based off of something that didn't end in a win or a loss, then you wouldn't really have anything to chase after. And I think that when you're training as a team and you are a winning team, that's something that you can attribute a successful season to. And so I think it's necessary.
How do you feel about winning and losing personally? Getting to finals and getting to games? Does it matter if you win or lose at that point?
I think I might be an interesting person to ask because last season we had a winning season, but we lost some key games, and so we didn't get a bid to the tournament. But this season, we won those key games that we lost last year, and so I think that when it comes down to winning and losing, it is extremely important whether you have that W, and even if it's just by one goal, like you definitely have that one win that will get you into the tournament for us. Hey Jamal, you're my best friend. Can't wait to see you soon and hang out. Peace!
I'm Jack. Born and raised in Denver, Colorado. Been playing soccer pretty much all my life. First team was the Black Bears back in first grade. Yeah, really love to play soccer.
Why did you keep playing soccer all the way up to college?
It really gave me a sense of drive and something to sort of hold on to, like a constant in a lot of different tumultuous times in high school.
Did winning become different from when you were in high school and when you were in middle and elementary school to college level as it became more competitive and more money was involved in the sport?
Yeah, it sort of became less about, honestly it became more about winning. Like in high school I cared so little about winning, and it was really pretty much just entirely focused on having fun. It was like a pretty bad team. Middle school, sort of the same story. It was more just about like getting down the fundamentals. And then in college, I don't know, that's like really so much more of a goal because we're working so much harder. It's like something that is really easy to drive myself towards.
Here's another question, a bit more personal, but in the same light. Would you say then that this desire to win came pushed down from the college onto you as you got into a greater institution of sports or just a greater level of soccer, or it came from within?
I don't think it's necessarily the institution pushing down on me, but sort of just the higher level of play and sort of the increase in intensity. Like, as it became more serious, it really became more, I had to care more and like do care more, and like pushing myself towards something makes it a lot easier for me to rally behind that and like drive myself to win. So I guess it comes from within, but was driven from a higher level of play.
Thank you. So, we've gained a bit more insight into what makes sports. Why we play, why we indulge ourselves, why we win, why we lose, and why it matters. And as we've watched, we can only guess who the biggest loser is, because in their own rights, all these sporting teams and players have achieved great feats that should outrightly rule them winners, but yet they still come short as losers. So the question becomes, what has made the system of winning? Did it grow into an economic capitalist system that we could not do anything about but feed into and help perpetuate in order to continue having these sports? Did the entertainment aspect of it play in? Was it spectacle? Was it the need for domination, the physical assertion over one another, to rule each other unruly or inferior? To create and perpetuate these dichotomies we continually put each other in? I don't know. I'm not privy to this knowledge, but what I do know is that winning and losing has shaped the way we view sports today. And for that, they're all the biggest loser. Wouldn't you say, John?
That's exactly what I'd say.
Thank you for watching, America, and this has been The Biggest Loser.